indictment, right? People, I hope people across the world don't think what George Bush is doing represents the American people, because the last election showed it does not.
But let me ask you this, like, what concerns me is that there's this environment now where we're almost more apt to trust our enemies than our allies, and that's very concerning to me.
Well, that is concerning when nearly everyone in
the
this
Bush administration for that, they've completely annihilated all of our trust.
See, I trust our allies and I trust our government much more than I trust our enemies on the war on terror.
But would you say, Elizabeth, that you trust the Bush administration as much as you did when he first took office?
Would you admit to, you know what, in a time of war, I think you are in a position where you have to trust
Nearly everyone in this administration is under indictment or suspicion. Nearly every person, from Karl Rove to Rumsfeld to Gonzalez. What do you have to do to get impeached in this country? You know what do you have to do?
Brush that off, and I'm going to be Monica, and I'm going to be discreet because your daughter's here.
Okay.
But let me tell you, while he was enjoying himself, there were things going on in this world. Namely, 3 times he could have had Osama bin Laden within his scope, and he was too busy to try to do something.
Wait a second. I'm sure that he was enjoying himself at that moment.
I'm sure he was doing nothing but enjoying himself.
No, I don't think so. I think Ken Starr.
The other guy was as bad, the other guy was as bad, he did this. That digresses from what the real issue is, and the issue is, but even you were a war on terror. I think, personally, that is propaganda.
Exactly, Marcia Gay, thank you!
I don't like the wording of it like that.
Because it makes people into evil and good.
I'm sorry, but the people who
left the soldiers
but
on the
this
front line.
Johnny, whatever his name is, he's a bad guy. He's a very bad guy.
I'm not saying
Explicitly, he wants to wipe Israel off the map. This guy is a bad guy.
Am I saying he's a good guy and I want him over for breakfast?
I'm
No, I'm not. But I'm saying that in America, we are fed propaganda, and if you want to know what's happening in the world, go outside of the U.S. media, because it's owned by 4 corporations. One of them is this one. And you know what? Go outside of the country to find out what's going on in our own country, because it's frightening. It's frightening. And if you
think we're being brainwashed as a whole country, I think not.
I think democracy is threatened in a way it hasn't been in 200 years, and if America doesn't stand up, we're in big trouble.
Admit it was a mistake to go into Iraq. Just do that.
I don't see it as a mistake.
I know you still don't see it as a mistake. In a no-bid contract for 5 years, Halliburton, wait a second, $16 billion. You want to know why we go into Iran? For the money.
Listen.
That's why we would do it. And that's
what is oil in this world? Oil is power. So if you want to turn that over to them and be fighting for
we're the oldest democracy in the world, and that's something to be proud of. We're the oldest democracy in the world, and we're a democracy founded on capitalism. But capitalism, the definition is not, where we are right now is capitalism run amok.
Yes.
And there was an ideology in the early democracies that were about a lot more about community and a lot more about helping your neighborhood and your country. And now I feel like we're in kind of an imperialistic stage, and that's not the ideologies of our forefathers in democracy.
To clarify, in terms of this war, do I think we went in the right way? No, we could have done things a lot better. We should have gone in with more troops. There should have been, I'm not a military strategist,
but do you think Iraq had anything to do with 9/11, Elizabeth?
You know what? That is something that I struggle with.
Did Iraq have anything to do with blowing up the Twin Towers?
I believe that at the time, George Bush was our president, was faced with a decision, and all the evidence stated that it did, and all the evidence that all the Democrats who voted for this war saw, and also believed
all the cherry-picked evidence.
Okay, well, the evidence that they saw indicated that Iraq had a part in 9/11, and that they were plotting to use those weapons of mass destruction in
still think this now?
Hang on. He had the choice to make the mistake and go in there, assuming that they did or that they didn't. Okay, I'd rather him make the mistake on the fact that yes, they had it, and at least we went in there.
Let me ask you one more thing. Do you think the government purposely misled the American people to believe that Iraq had something to do with 9/11?
No.
Yes, says the crowd.
Do you believe that the government had anything to do with the attack of 9/11? Do you believe in a conspiracy in terms of the attack of 9/11?
No, but I do believe that it is the first time in history that fire has ever melted steel. I do believe that it defies physics for the World Trade Center Tower 7, Building 7, which collapsed in on itself. It is impossible for a building to fall the way it fell without explosives being involved. World Trade Center 7. World Trader 1 and 2 got hit by planes. 7, miraculously, the first time in history, steel was melted by fire. It is physically impossible.
And who do you think is responsible for that?
I have no idea. But to say that we don't know that it imploded and it was an implosion and a demolition is beyond ignorant. Look at the films. Get a physics expert here from Yale, from Harvard. Pick the school. It defies reason.
That one, okay? That one, because that
I would do it.
is the unthinkable.
It is the unthinkable. But imagine if somebody could convince you of that, could prove it to you, Elizabeth. Just 7.
I don't think it would happen, but I would, if someone could sit here right now and prove that to me, I would.
Okay, we're going to call up Harvard and we're going to call up Yale. And we're going to ask somebody from physics to come and explain.
Bush went to Yale. How good could they be?